severe on everyone you meet. They come on the screen, they give their lives. We are the people, they won't take us alive. Manipulation, torture, murder, genocide, mechanics of death. All through the sky, a new heaven awaits. And after half of this, we must stand strong. We must resist. They come on the screen, they spill their lies. We are the people, they want to take us
Sorry about that, folks. Go ahead and spit out that gum. Ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages, it's time for Miles Culture Plate. I'm your host, Miles Kevin Miles. It's Thursday, July 30th, 2026. And yeah, I started a little late. I'm sorry. Wow, what a day, what a day. So yeah, we've got some a few human interest pieces, and then we'll get into the Dr. Fauci stuff. Normally I try to keep political stuff off the show, but the Fauci thing is definitely a media narrative conversation that we have frequently had on this show. So I'm going to cover the Fauci hearing. That to me is a newsworthy item and not necessarily a political item. And so yeah, that's the point of the title. We will be talking about the Anthony Fauci hearing from yesterday. Wow, folks. All right. So, yeah, let's get into the news. Give people time to come on in and say hello. Get a sound effect played in your honor and, get a little toast. All right. So let's get to the New York Post. Massive home explosion caught on wild video as two people were launched from a missile-like blast somehow survived. Let's watch the video here from the New York Post. Do we get to see two people launching two people through the air? Do we see the two people in the air? Where are the people? We don't get to see the two people. Looks like it took the power out except for this house. All right. Nope. Go away. We don't want to see the dog. 29 days after earthquake. Shout out to that dog. A massive explosion leveled an Ohio home early Thursday morning with the caught on video blast throwing two people into the air, both miraculously surviving with severe burns. Doorbell cam footage captured the explosion at a home in Canton around 4 a.m., shattering the silence in the quiet residential neighborhood, with one survivor later found with severe burns 3/10 of a mile away. Wow. Damn near a third of a mile launched across the neighborhood. It was a big boom, like a missile was going off. Neighbor Victor Howell told the news. It actually shattered some of my neighbor's windows and even shook my whole house, by the way. That's WJWTV. Authorities said the explosion rattled homes 2 miles away. Fire officials said that one person was blown into the street by the blast and suffered burns over 80% of their body, while a second survivor was found blocks away, also badly burned, said WKYC TV. Firefighters located one occupant in the street who had been blown from the structure by the blast. The individual sustained serious burns, traumatic injuries, and was transported to the local hospital for treatment. Wow, they've already got an excavator out there crushing the home. Wow. Injured victim reported that another individual had been inside the residence at the time of the explosion. First responders searched for the second survivor to no avail till shortly before 8:30 a.m. when firefighters responded to a call of reports of an adult male suffering from severe burns blocks away. It's unclear how the second survivor got so far from the scene. Both victims were transported to hospitals for treatment. Several homes in the surrounding area sustained varying degrees of fire and structural damage as a result of the explosion, according to a statement. The explosion scattered debris throughout the neighborhood and brought down multiple power. Yeah, I intentionally mispronounced debris, by the way. Multiple power lines, creating additional hazards for emergency responders and residents, it said. Utility companies were requested to the scene to address electrical hazards. Yeah, see, I knew it took the power out. The cause of the blast is under investigation. So what do we think? Do we think meth lab? Do we think faulty gas line? What do we think happened here? Come on into the chat and say hello. By the way, if you're catching this on demand, let me know what you think happened to this home down in the comments. Please give me a little engagement. Just a crumb, please. All right. Also from the New York Post, we're going to check this one out over on X, as we have FedEx workers run screaming after man unboxes live iguana.
Oh, no, yet.
Oh, what the hell?
I got a thing for him. What the hell?
How big is he now?
Possibly about 6 feet.
It says live animals on the thing.
That's fine.
So they knew it was coming. They knew it was coming. Oh, he's unbagging it. Yeah, here we go. Whee! I just want to sell you car insurance. Switch to Geico. I know that's not a gecko. It's an iguana. But well, now you just open the door and let him in there.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man. Yeah, he's just scared.
Yeah, he's just scared. He's just trying to get away from all the human activity. All right, let's go ahead and remove that. We got to have a little laugh before we get to the serious stuff. Speaking of wildlife, we have Fox News detailing the arrest of a man who has now been arrested in Washington. Let's go ahead and bring this. arrested in Washington for catching and wrestling sharks. So there you have it. Fox News says, authorities have arrested a man accused of legally catching and wrestling protected sharks after surveilling him for months in Washington. He posted videos online showing himself holding shark's mouth open, sitting on its back and dragging it onto shore by its tail as it struggled to escape. He's now facing multiple charges and jail time if convicted. So there's that. Hang on real quick. There's one more story I wanted to cover on today's show that I haven't gotten to, that I forgot to get a link for here. So let me dear Lord, we're gonna have to go back to New York Post because I don't trust any of these other. Oh, surely the New York Post has it. What in the world? Okay, I'm just gonna go to their website. Because I need an in-depth thing, not just an X. Right, what's going on here? Here we go. Let's do this. Do a couple more back-to-back stories from New York Post. My bad, folks. I'm sorry. This is bad TV, but oh well. It's my live stream. I give no shits. There's nobody in the chat. Nobody's coming to say hello. I don't have an audience anymore. Anyway, am I even live on Rumble, by the way? Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm live on Rumble. Okay. It's fucking way behind. But I am live on Rumble. So let's get on to this story about eBay. You guys heard this story this week or the past couple weeks? Ex-eBay executives harass journalist with live roaches, bloody pig masks. Well, this is, hang on, this was the main story. I want the lawsuit being settled. Fuck it, we'll go to NBC News. NBC News. Okay, eBay agrees to pay nearly $50 million to a couple that was sent cockroaches and a bloody pig mask. The settlement with David and Ina Sterner resolves more than 6 years of criminal and civil proceedings. eBay agreed to pay almost $50 million to a Massachusetts couple who said former employees of the company targeted them with threats and bizarre anonymous deliveries, including live insects, a funeral wreath, a bloody pig Halloween mask. According to settlement details released Tuesday, the parties reported reaching a tentative settlement in February as the case was headed to trial, but they were unable to finalize it. David and Ina Steiner asked a federal judge in June to restore the case to trial calendar and reached a new settlement this month. The agreement with the Steiners, the founders of E-Commerce Bytes, a newsletter covering the e-commerce industry, includes an additional $7 million in charitable donations, including to organizations supporting First Amendment rights. The settlement contains no confidentiality provision allowing the Steiners to discuss the case publicly. David and I were on the same page. This is what Ina Steiner said in an email Tuesday. David and I were on the same page that this settlement should and must be made public. As victims who want to prevent something like this from ever happening to anyone else, and as reporters who believe in transparency, we hope that this case will serve as a deterrent. The settlement resolves more than 6 years of criminal and civil proceedings stemming from the harassment campaign. In 2021 lawsuit filed in Boston federal court, the Steiners said that the company engaged in a conspiracy to intimidate, threaten, to kill, torture, terrorize, stalk, and silence them in order to, quote, stifle their reporting on eBay. The Natick residents who report on the e-commerce industry in their newsletter said that they were subjected to cyberstalking, death threats, and in-person surveillance by former eBay workers. Steiner said the campaign began with threatening direct messages on social media before escalating into anonymous deliveries of live cockroaches and spiders, a funeral wreath, a bloody pig Halloween mask, and a book about surviving the death of a spouse. The employees also sent pornographic magazines with David Steiner's name to a neighbor's home and planned to install a GPS device on the couple's car. She said she did not initially know who was behind it or why. I could not conceive that a company I'd been covering for the past 2 decades had tried to terrorize us into stopping our reporting, she said. When the lawsuit was filed, the company said the misconduct of these former employees was wrong, and that it would, quote, do what is fair and appropriate to try to address what the Steiners went through. eBay reiterated its apology Tuesday, saying what the Steiners were subjected to by former eBay employees in 2019 was wrong, reprehensible, and should never have happened. The company also acknowledged, quote, the unprofessional tone in internal communications by former CEO Devin Weinig, former CCO Steve Weimer, and former Senior Vice President Wendy Jones. The company said the conduct is not representative of eBay's culture and said it has since changed leadership and strengthened its policies, procedures, and ethics training. 2020 federal prosecutors charged 7 former eBay employees alleging they carried out a coordinated harassment campaign against the couple after becoming angered by coverage in the couple's online newsletter. Most of the defendants pleaded guilty to charges including conspiracy and cyber stalking and were later sentenced to prison terms or home confinement. In 2024, eBay agreed to pay a $3 million criminal penalty under a deferred prosecution agreement with federal authorities. Under the settlement, the Steiners will receive $48.7 million in compensation, including $46.15 million from eBay, $2 million from former CEO Weinig, and $500,000 from former executive Jones, and $50,000 from Weimer. Wow. The company will fund $6 million in charitable contributions to various nonprofit organizations, with Weinig contributing an additional $1 million to a charity dedicated to protecting First Amendment rights in Ina Steiner's name. In a statement, Steiner attorney Christopher Murphy cited the recovery amount, personal payments by former executives, a commitment to $7 million to go to nonprofits, and the absence of a confidentiality provision in a system where, quote, wrongdoers too often hide their misdeeds by dangling compensation in front of those who were victimized and trading that compensation for confidentiality or a non-disclosure agreement. Protecting journalists and publishers and deterring corporate misconduct were goals from the beginning, he said. We believe this resolution sends a clear message that corporations and their executives cannot engage in this type of misconduct without facing significant consequences, said Murphy of Massachusetts-based Scully Murphy Law. Ina Steiner said she and her husband hope that, quote, some good will come out of this painful, life-changing experience. So there you go. Yeah. You talk shit to the wrong corporation, they might send you cockroaches, but in the long run, you might get $50 million out of the deal. All right, let's go back to New York Post via Fox News, apparently. Newborn vanished after a secret birth. Parents allegedly claimed baby, quote, was a prank. according to the cops. A Florida couple accused of claiming their missing infant never existed has been arrested in North Carolina after a year-long investigation into the child's presumed death. Leon Alejandro Jr., 21, and Samantha Feliz, 20, both of Hollywood, Florida, were arrested Wednesday in Rockingham, North Carolina, where investigators said that they fled while Hollywood police investigated the disappearance of their infant. The pair were taken into custody by investigators with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshals Service, booked by Richmond County. What? Bill Dozer says, I think you're muted. I fucking heard myself. I think Bill Dozer's fucking muted. Yes, it's on your end, Bill. It's on your end. It is on your end. I can hear myself when I click my stream. Don't try to fuck with me, man. I love you, Bill. Oh, shit. The pair were taken into custody by investigators with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshals Service and booked into Richmond County Jail on a fugitive justice warrants. They're being held without bond pending extradition to Florida. Hollywood police began investigating the case in early 2025 after learning Feliz allegedly gave birth sometime between December 6th, 2024 and January 5th, 2025, according to Richmond County Sheriff's Office. And here's Daddy, Leon, 21 years old. That's a rough looking fucking 21. That is a really rough looking 21 for a dude. I mean, dear Lord, all I'd have to do is dye my hair black and dye my beard black, and I would look just like this guy. And I'm in my mid 40s, yo. Authorities said the birth was concealed and happened somewhere other than a hospital. Investigators said family members saw the couple with the baby during the child's first month of life. After that, the infant was never seen again. Disgusting. According to an arrest warrant obtained by WPLG, investigators believe the child, identified only by the initials AF, was last photographed on January 5th, 2025. Detectives wrote that the infant appeared visibly ill and malnourished and showed no signs of life in what they described as the final known image. Oh. The warrant also alleges investigators searched multiple locations with cadaver dogs but were unable to locate the child's remains, according to the outlet. And here's Mom of the Century right here. Gave birth, paraded around a baby for a month, and just let it die. Authorities allege Alejandro and Feliz repeatedly denied the child existed, telling relatives that the baby, quote, was a prank, and later claiming that the pregnancy had been a, quote, hoax intended to scam family members out of money. WPLG reported citing the arrest warrant. According to the outlet, investigators said photographs showed Feliz visibly pregnant while text messages discussed the pregnancy and baby. Detectives also reportedly recovered baby clothing, a positive pregnancy test, and what appeared to be blood-stained towels from a storage unit tied to the couple. DNA testing later determined that blood recovered from the baby clothing and towels belonged to a biological child of both Alejandro and Feliz, according to the warrant. Despite the lack of a birth certificate, medical records, investigators said they developed enough evidence to charge both suspects with aggravated manslaughter of a child, tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, failure to report a death to a medical examiner, providing false information concerning a missing child, and making false reports to law enforcement. Authorities allege the couple fled Florida and were living on property belonging to one of Alejandro's relatives in Richmond County when investigators located and arrested them July 22nd. Poor baby. Poor baby. Richmond County Sheriff Mark Gouledge praised the multi-agency effort that led to the arrests, This is a prime example of agencies nationwide collaborating to uphold justice, Guledge said in a statement. Authorities have not publicly released details about what investigators believe happened to the infant. Fox News Digital has reached out to Richmond County Sheriff's Office for any additional updates, but did not immediately receive a response. I mean, surely, I mean, we know what happened to the baby. Obviously, they're charging them with failure to identify a death, but I mean, stranger things have happened, and we can pray that this baby found better caregivers somewhere. If not, then pray the Lord Jesus and God have welcomed this baby. All right, we ready to get into the main news? Ready to get into our main story because it's going to take most of the rest of the show. Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci was pulled before Congress because his journals have leaked. His personal diaries have leaked. Thank you for the repost, Bill Dozer. Oh, dang it. Did not mean to do that. And there are definitely people that have put two and two together that his diaries have not lined up with his public statements. And here's five from I'm Your Boogeyman on X. Here's five instances where he clearly lied to the public. In his public statements, while also in his private diary saying something else. So here's a thread from I'm Your Boogeyman, and that's spelled this way. I'm not gonna try to list it out, but it's spelled this way with zeros and you are, so you want to find that account, go ahead. So first is the wet market origin. The public position. For years, Fauci treated the Hunan wet market as the most plausible origin point, or at least key amplification site that pointed to a natural spillover. He repeatedly framed natural origin via the market as the leading explanation and treated lab origin talk as fringe. Diary, January 26, 2020. We now know the market was not the source. It was the amplifier. Having said that, somewhere the virus jumped from animals to humans. He had already knew the earliest cases were not linked to the market, yet the public narrative he backed for a long time kept the market front and center. And here's the plausibility of the lab leak. Public position early on and for a long stretch afterward, Fauci and the scientists he worked with presented a laboratory origin as highly unlikely or implausible. The proximal origin paper, which he helped convene the discussion for, was used to shut down lab leak discussion. As of late January, February 2020 conference call notes, Fauci recorded that several leading virologists on the call, including himself, thought the furin cleavage site features looked like they could have been inserted, that natural evolution looked difficult, and that Xi Jinping's gain of function work at the Wuhan Institute of Virology made a lab scenario impossible to dismiss. He noted that the majority leaned toward deliberate insertion being possible, so something like China intentionally spreading it around the world, or a rogue agent. With accidental release, the more likely version, private notes show serious consideration of lab involvement at the exact moment the public message was being locked into, quote, natural origin is the only serious theory. Now, his role in school closures. Public position from a 2024 congressional interview. I have often said that we need to open up the schools as quickly and safely as possible, and I must have said that 500 times on TV. He denied driving or meaningfully influencing state and local school closure decisions, but in his diary on March 15th, 2020, he explicitly takes credit. He spoke with Bill de Blasio and convinced him to close New York City schools. He had already decided based on what I was saying on TV. Same day he recorded that Gavin Newsom's chief of staff told him the governor was closing California schools, bars, and restaurants based on Fauci's TV appearances. He also noted advising Cuomo on closures. The diary shows him actively pushing and then privately claiming credit for the very closures he said later that he did not drive. Uh-oh. Early mask guidance. So he repeated statements in March 2020 that healthy people did not need to wear a mask in public. He said, "There's no reason to be walking around with a mask." Masks were framed as mainly useful for infected people or healthcare workers. By late March, he was already writing that we were probably too strong in saying masks do not work. And in the beginning to push internal discussions toward broader recommendations, the diaries show the internal pivot happening while the strong public, quote, "don't wear them" message was still circulating. And then here we go. Confidence level in natural origin over time. The public position, consistently high confidence that the virus, quote, originated naturally from an animal reservoir jumping to a human, with the lab leak treated as remote. In 2021, May of 2021, Fauci complained about press coverage of his flip-flopping. He wrote that he always said the very highly likelihood is that the virus originated naturally. But in light of recent speculation, he was now saying, no one is 100% certain of the origin, including me. The diary shows him managing the optics of a shift he had privately contemplated much earlier. So there you have it. Fauci's own journals prompted this call for him in front of Congress. And we're going to go to Dr. Rand Paul. And we're going to cover quite a bit of this hearing. We're going to do a few clips from Dr. Paul, and we'll do a few clips from Missouri Hawley, and then we're going to do a big long clip from Bernie Moreno. So hold on to your hats. We got a long one coming up, folks.
Admit that the risk of this dangerous research exceeded any possible benefits. Ask forgiveness and pledge to help our government devise safeguards so a man-made epidemic never happens again. Instead of an apology, you have for years avoided responsibility. Regarding the lockdowns, you argue that you did not personally issue every lockdown order, close every school, or impose every mandate. But officials across the country invoked your authority to justify these decisions. And you presented your recommendations not as judgments open to debate, but as dictates of science itself. Your own words demonstrate that you understood the influence you exercised. On March 14th, 2020, you wrote that the task force recommendations were driven by me, yourself, Deb, and CDC. The next day you wrote that you had convinced Mayor Bill de Blasio to close the New York City schools, so you were involved. That same night, Governor Gavin Newsom's chief of staff told you that the governor had decided to close California schools, bars, and restaurants after watching you on television. Presidents, governors, mayors, school boards, corporations, and Congress all bear responsibility for the decisions they made. The COVID lockdown, however, could never have been inflicted without you aiding and abetting the crime. Children lost years of education. Small businesses built over a lifetime disappeared. Patients delayed cancer screenings and other medical care. Families were separated from dying relatives. Workers were ordered to accept a medical procedure or lose their jobs. worship assembly, employment, education, and travel were restricted in the name of science. Well, you did not impose every restriction. You used your public authority to justify them.
Okay, we'll stop that there. And remember the absurdity, folks. Remember people. Okay. That is weird, Bulldozer. And to be honest, Rumble Studio has not worked real well for me over the last month. I don't know what's up with that. Which makes me wonder. Let me click YouTube and see if it's working right. Yeah, it seems to be working right on YouTube as well. I don't know what's going on with that. Remember the absurdity, though, folks. There were people out rowing a boat in the ocean by themselves and were arrested for not social distancing. There were people getting baptized via squirt gun. There were people who had to invent devices that were giant shower curtains with arms where you could hug each other through a frickin' shower curtain. The absurdity that this virus was just going to just kill everyone. In those first couple of months where Dr. Fauci's writing a lot of these journal entries, our television was being blasted with images from China of overworked hospital staff, doctors dragging bodies onto shipping containers, and it was the most fear-mongering absurdity there could ever be. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of deaths. There was an increased amount of deaths that year and the next year. I'm not going to say the vaccine saved people. That's up to you and your doctor to decide. All right, let's go back to Dr. Paul and Dr. Fauci. This hearing kind of continued, and Dr. Fauci started beginning to assert the Fifth Amendment, and he was relying heavily on the attorneys at his table. We'll go ahead and start this up here.
Whether or not you've changed your mind on whether or not the benefits of gain-of-function research outweigh the risks.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
The chairman has denied your assertion of privilege and directed you to answer, but you nonetheless refuse and stand on privilege despite the existence of the pardon. The committee will have to consider after this hearing what appropriate action should be taken against you for the failure to testify after being directed to do so. It's against the law to obstruct an investigation of Congress. There will be repercussions to your refusal to testify today. Senator Peters.
And look, right now there's the left-right bullshit that's happening all over social media about, Trump tried to assert privilege and then also claimed Fifth Amendment, and Trump officials have tried to do that as well. I'm not necessarily trying to get into all that, but what I will say is one thing that Trump and many of his aides did not have is a full blanket pardon going back several years covering nearly everything they did under direction of the federal government. Dr. Fauci was granted this pardon, and again, an argument could be made that if Trump plans on going after the auto pen and somehow figuring out a way to invalidate the pardon, then Fauci's Fifth Amendment assertion here does make sense. Trump has said he wanted to do that. He's since backed away from that. I don't know. But as of right now, Anthony Fauci has a full presidential pardon going back several years, covering everything he did in the federal government. So therefore, I agree with Rand Paul here that his assertion of the Fifth Amendment, now I understand why he's doing it. Because if something were to pierce that presidential pardon, he could incriminate himself. However, as we're about to see, the questions and the invocation of the Fifth Amendment starts to reach a very comedic level. Here's where the lawyer chimes in.
You're not recognized. You're not recognized. If you are unruly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security.
So I'm sure that the lawyer, he's going to basically say what he's trying to say, what I just said, that, you know, that yes, he may have a pardon and therefore have a privilege of immunity to some degree due to the pardon. But if that pardon is ever pierced, his comments here could come back to haunt him. This isn't the time or place to argue that. Just let him keep doing what he's doing.
We'll hold off, but you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
See, I would have thrown him out there.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd
even
like
the
to hear,
very well. Like,
what
that's
the
another
attorney
word.
has to
Gone.
say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again,
Democrat
he will
says he
be
wanted to hear
removed
it.
from the room. This testimony is
Rand Paul's
from
like, no.
Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise. His lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered, for a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room. Let the record state that Dr. Fauci will still have the advice of the other half a dozen attorneys that he brought along today.
Yeah. One attorney got removed, but yeah, there's still a bunch more. All right, we're going to continue this coverage. We're going to move to Senator Bernie Moreno. And this one's going to be kind of long. I may at some point jump forward a little bit in it, but it was an epic beatdown it really hit me in my emotions. It really hit me in my emotions. So let's jump into it.
Go Senator Johnson's comments about your opening statement, Mr. Chairman. I think it was dead on. Very, very well done. Mr. Fauci, do you know who David Shurtler is?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
This motherfucker. Oh, sorry.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
No, I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide. He'll bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should know what the Constitution says. Do you know who wrote the Fifth Amendment?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
So you're invoking a right that you don't know who wrote it or what it says. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Wow. All right, let me tell you who David Schertler is for the audience because he was ejected by the chairman. He's a high-profile criminal attorney. He's represented some really great people, like Senator Bob Menendez. Maybe that's somebody who my Democrat colleagues may remember took gold bars as bribes from the Egyptians. And there's an article here in the Washington Free Beacon that talks about why you would hire a guy like David Schertler. And the comment is, if you're in deep shit, that's who you call. Do you feel like you're in deep shit?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I think I would invoke the Fifth on that one too. What about y'all?
Clearly, what you think today is that somehow you're above reproach.
Here's when it gets good.
Somehow you feel like you don't need to be treated like a normal American. Can you do me a favor in the audience and stand up if during the time of the COVID pandemic, you were called a racist for calling the virus a Wuhan virus or the China virus? If you thought the 6-foot rule was total crap, if you thought the vaccine wasn't something that you should take, if you thought it was outrageous the way the mask policy was rolled out, if you were fired from your job for not taking that vaccine, including members of the military, if you thought closing schools was catastrophically stupid, and that you thought that during these times saying these things made you somehow a lesser human being. Dr. Fauci, can you just turn around and look at the people behind you? You're not willing to do that? That's not a question. It's not a question. To your lawyer, it's not a question. It's a request. All you have to do is look up from your lawyers.
The lawyer said just ignore
and look
him.
at the people who were absolutely shamed for saying what we know now to be the truth. You can't even look at them? That's a question. Are you able to look at them? You can sit down in the audience.
Fifth Amendment.
There was a mom in Ohio during the depth of the coronavirus pandemic, decided to go to her high school football game for her son. They hadn't been out much. The kids had been learning at school, and then the school got shut down. They hadn't really gotten much out of that education. As any parent knew, that remote learning was no learning at all. But it was a Friday night. Her son wanted to go watch a buddy go play football. So they went to the stadium. They sat alone, far from everybody else, just a mom, a dad, a few kids. They didn't feel they needed to wear masks because it was stupid, because they were outside. They all live together. They're not near anybody. Dr. Fauci, do you know what happened to that mom and that family?
Fifth Amendment.
That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
They were dragged out of that stadium and arrested. Those policies were put in place because you had moronic politicians that listened to the words of a megalomaniac who was more interested
Ooh,
in having met a Kardashian
ooh.
than the suffering of the American people. And that is you. Your advice to communities like that, to idiotic politicians who enforce those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside. When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the fuck do you think you were for doing that?
Yes. Yes.
It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. I will make it my mission
Wow.
to make certain that every single one of those
All right, we're
Democrats
2/3 of the way
who
through.
did
We
that
might as well listen to the rest
will
of this.
see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did.
This is
You
just
may have had a 50 plus
dressing
year
down.
legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace. So let me ask you an opportunity to answer one question. Will you apologize, just apologize, to the people who you harmed through your actions? Will you say, do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth
What
Amendment
a
to the
fucking
Constitution.
creature.
So you won't apologize to the military members who Joe Biden summarily dismissed from the military for not taking the vaccine?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the business
Absolute
owners
fucking
that
lizard,
lost
man.
their business, shattered their lives, and they'll never recover?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
He has to
Will you
reread.
apologize to the
You
moms
see him
who
looking
had to
down every time.
force
He
their
has to
infant children,
reread the
2,
wording
3,
of it every
4-year-olds,
time
to
because
put
he's so
masks on,
fucking nervous.
and what that did and how that traumatized those kids?
By the way, I forgot. I'm sorry, Bulldozer. I forgot. I meant to give you a cheers. I was too worried about the audio. I'll give you a cheers and a Taco Bell. All right, back to this creature.
Under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to the family members of the people who died because they took your advice and not only got the first vaccine, but the 5, 6 other boosters that they did not need?
Got a minute left.
To answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Will you apologize to that mom from Ohio for being arrested for watching a football game with her family?
Fifth Amendment.
Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
So you didn't know who wrote the Fifth Amendment. It's James Madison. Lived in this town. I can only wonder what he would think of somebody like you invoking his writings to shield culpability for the actions that you took. It's no secret why you have to hire the biggest dirtbag attorney on the planet, because of what you did. I hope you're paying him well. And I hope that one way or the other, somewhere, sometime, you answer for your crimes.
Boom. Oh, man. Mic drop moment there from Senator Bernie Moreno. from Ohio. Now let's go to Josh Hawley from Missouri.
Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyer is sitting behind you now, shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich. While people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic.
Yeah, $1 a death. $1 a death.
Didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
All right, so there's clip 1 from Holly. I think I got one more here.
You did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich.
No.
Do you think maybe I'd qualify?
Okay.
My rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant. And what were these?
To the Constitution.
You remember Greg Folkers? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your chief of staff is the answer. Do you remember Patricia Conrad? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant. And what were these individuals doing in the depth of the pandemic in November of 2020 when millions of Americans were suffering from COVID? What were they doing? I tell you what they're doing. Folkers was on your behalf soliciting and gathering information for a cash award. Let's look at it. We've got his email right here, right over my shoulder. Folkers says, I'm working on this nomination for the Dan David Award for Fauci. We need to beef up the COVID part. Do you have language in the can that you could share that delineates how we responded in new ways to COVID? He sends this to multiple federal employees. What was the Dan David Award? Do you remember, Doc?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
It was a $900,000 cash award. $900,000 cash award. And he got it because he used federal employees to get it. And this wasn't the only award, was it, Dr. Fauci? In fact, you applied for and received at least 8 other federal cash prizes on federal time using federal employees and federal resources. Here they are over my shoulder. Besides the Dan David Award, you've got the Partnership for Public Service, you've got the Adelson Prize, you've got the Smithsonian Award, you've got the National Academy of Medicine's Award, you've got the CDC Foundation. In fact, you turned your staff into a full-time application machine. You actually wrote to people and said, do you think maybe I'd qualify? And you got cash for all of this. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 employees, was it? In fact, you used 8 separate federal employees on federal time using federal resources to solicit cash awards. Isn't that true?
On
The Advisory Council.
I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Here they are right over my shoulder. Here's all of them. The people that you use, federal employees, so that you could go and get cash money. And the most hilarious part is that you weren't content to even dragoon them into applying for all of these cash awards. You then had them go out to the ethics agencies and ethics watchdogs and demand that you be able to get the money. That's right. We've got it in your emails. Your staff and employees on federal time, using federal resources, being paid with federal dollars, are soliciting cash for you. And then they're turning around and saying to the agency, we don't want just an answer. We want to get to yes, because Fauci wants the money. He wants it. We want to get to yes, and yes takes time. This is your chief of staff again, using federal email to pressure the agency's own ethics people so that you could get money, so that you could get rich. And it violated the law, didn't it, Dr. Fauci? Didn't it? It violated the law, didn't it? It is a question. You can answer. Go ahead.
On the advice of counsel.
So there you have it, folks. Dr. Anthony Fauci. And of course, we have the fucking mindless left and mainstream media making this a left-right thing, saying that an honored man like Dr. Fauci being berated by these evil Republicans. How dare they? And one of the most egregious examples of this is the Harvey Levin from TMZ.
I have not used TMZ's YouTube channel to vent personal feelings about issues, but
Bullshit.
I'm going to do that today.
Bullshit, you have.
Watching Anthony Fauci before a congressional hearing taking the Fifth Amendment is just one of the most heartbreaking things I have seen in government in my lifetime. And this is something we need to reckon with. That I'm going to say up front, I have problems the way the CDC handled COVID. I think that they did damage to children, to adults, and I don't think they did it maliciously. I think they did it because they were using their judgment and were overprotective, and I think at times overstated things they said.
Okay, we just heard several examples of what Dr. Fauci was saying to his colleagues, what Dr. Fauci was writing in his diary. Do those things sound overcautious or malicious?
They knew but really didn't. And I have personal problems with the way that COVID was handled. That said, Anthony Fauci, over a period of decades, has been an amazing public servant. In the 80s, I had many friends who died of AIDS, a horrible, painful death. And I had friends who lived because of Anthony Fauci, because he was willing to look at experimental drugs in a different way than they had looked at them before. And that really resulted in lives saved. And
More
he has
deaths.
done
It
so
resulted in
many
more deaths.
other
Oh my
things
God.
in his career to thwart epidemics, to save lives, not just in the United States, but all over the world. He has been a dedicated public servant.
He was the one
who could have
funneling
made
money
a
to
lot
the
more
Wuhan
money,
lab.
outside of government than inside, but he stayed. And now we are at a point where members of Congress, and yes, you, Rand Paul, are on a witch hunt. And the best I can say for Rand Paul is that he's being really honest. I mean, he has said now over a period of years, he wants Anthony Fauci in a jail cell. He has said it out loud. He wants
Because
him
he
in a
fucking
jail
deserves it.
cell. That's the point of this hearing. That's why they're doing this. They want to take something that Anthony Fauci says and then claim it amounts to perjury, and they want to prosecute him, they want to convict him, and they want to throw him in prison. That's the point of this hearing. There is no other point of this hearing. There could be. I mean, there are things they could certainly ask him, but he can't answer. Because if he answers, it doesn't matter what he says. You know, if you can prosecute somebody for frickin' seashells on the beach shore, then you could certainly prosecute somebody for what they say in a congressional hearing. And that's the climate.
And here we go. The fucking red herring in the middle of this. The whataboutism. Yeah, it's just seashells on the seashore. It didn't have an actual message to it. The disingenuousness. It's not seashells on the seashore. And yes, actually, I'm sure there are innocent Americans who have probably gotten arrested for something to do with seashells. But Comey's not one of them.
We're in. We are in a Senator Joseph McCarthy climate where there is such fear that people have, and legitimate fear that they'll end up in prison for what they say, no matter what it is, if they are on the wrong side.
The man invoked the Fifth Amendment on what color is the carpet in front of you. I mean, sure. Let's live in this fucking crazy paranoia dream that you're trying to promote here, and that Trump will legitimately arrest him for saying the carpet's red. Come on.
Side of somebody in Congress or the administration that they have been silenced. And that's where we are right now. We are in Senator Joseph McCarthy territory. And the idea that you have to watch this man take the
Turn
Fifth
off your
Amendment.
TVs,
and again,
folks,
I will
because
say
this type
that
of
I
shit.
disagreed personally with some of the CDC decisions. Absolutely, I did. That said, he's a public servant who worked for us and saved lives for decades. And we are turning him into what Rand Paul wants to be, a criminal. And Rand Paul has a political agenda, and it is prevailing here. Watching Rand Paul order security to throw Anthony Fauci's lawyer out of that hearing was unbelievable to me. We are in a dark.
But it wasn't unbelievable that the lawyer would speak in a congressional hearing unprompted. Like, that wasn't
period
unbelievable.
Of America.
I mean, this is left-right bullshit, right? This is propaganda. Look, ultimately, one of the things I find frustrating about this is yes, all of this was very exciting. All of this was very entertaining. All of this was very invoking of emotions that I have about the coronavirus pandemic of 2020 and 2021. But ultimately, what's going to happen? Anthony Fauci has a presidential pardon. And either Trump can do some sort of executive order about the audio pin that might be struck down by the Supreme Court. Again, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Rand Paul, what are you going to do about it? Josh Hawley, what can you do about it at this point? We have just over 2 years left of this administration. We have, maybe 4 months until the leftist media machine replaces half of our Congress with Democrats. What are you going to do? You're not going to get any type of justice here. I appreciate that you're holding these hearings to notify the American people as to what kind of a monster Anthony Fauci is. But you're not going to take his riches away. You're not going to take his freedom away. And in fact, just today, as reported by the New York Post, he's flaunting it. Limelight-loving Fauci is all smiles as he's surprised by flowers left by adoring fans. Look at him. Oh, he's so happy. Collected flowers from an admirer placed on the steps of his $2.4 million Washington, D.C. home less than a day after the jaw-dropping hearing where Republican senators took him out to the woodshed. Grinned like a gold medal ice skater wearing a red t-shirt. Yeah. Adorned with a handwritten note reading, "We heart you, Dr. Fauci." Good doctor clad in shorts and a Georgetown University Iron Med 5K t-shirt even let an F-bomb fly as he awkwardly fumbled with his phone, visibly frustrated by the apparent attention. So yeah, the man should be rotting in a jail cell. Instead, he's collecting flowers on his doorstep, and there's not a damn thing you or anyone else can do about it. All right, we're way overdue. Let's go to Love Don't Judge. See if these people's relationship warrants some sort of admonishment in a segment we call Love Does Admonish. All right. Men say our love is a, quote, waste of females. Love Don't Judge. We're going to go over to the Love Don't Judge YouTube channel and watch these two ladies tell us their
I'm
story.
Erica. This is my partner, Ayana.
People feel like you can't be pretty and gay. Girls do anything for male attention. You're both pretty, but look for a man and get married.
They feel like as you're a lesbian and you choose to be a stud, you can't really choose to be a girly girl too. I will be switching to my masculine side.
She's definitely going to shock you though.
We're gonna sit down with my mom and get her reaction on my change in my hairstyle.
I'm not a big fan of locks on females.
It's kind of rogue, they would call it.
No matter what they say, don't judge a book by its cover. When I see you, my brain automatically formulates an opinion about you.
Uh-oh.
Wash our hands.
I could have let you do that for me.
That's going to be bullshit,
Erica,
isn't
this
it?
is my partner, Ayana.
Men say we are a waste of females. Majority of people think of a gay couple. They never think of
Two girls.
pretty girls. We met in high school and then we rekindled a couple years after that. And then that's when we started talking.
Pretty girls, huh? They call this pretty. I mean, I guess some would enjoy it. I guess they enjoy each other. They think they're pretty. I don't think I'm pretty. So yeah, I mean, I'm not being a hypocrite here. But yeah, to each their own.
Well, I always was attracted to her. She was very beautiful. I never imagined us being together.
You don't even need that much.
Why is it so gloppy? We've been living together for the whole year and a half. Lesbian couples usually move very fast. So we was moved in probably about the first, second month. And that's really hard when it comes to two girls. She got makeup everywhere and I'm just like the tomboy. So I got my, stuff everywhere.
That's actually a stereotype.
We do vlogs, pranks, comedy skits, dance videos on TikTok.
Anyway,
all the judgment
I
that
won't
I've
get
gotten
into it.
has been from social media. They feel like you can't be pretty and gay. You have to talk to a man. The same thing, just like I'm a waste of a female. Guys should be creating babies and the whole housewife type of thing. And that's not me. This one says, looks like two completely lost souls to me.
Like, what do you mean by that? What are you referring to?
Girls do anything for male attention. Why would you even be doing this? Girls even play lesbian for male attention. It's crazy. Someone say you're both pretty, but look for a man and get married. You are being the children of your father, the devil. Repent and be the children of your real father, God.
All
It's
men.
always men. Sometimes we get a lot from like the females, but not really.
This is what the world came to. I'm an 80s baby, raised in the 90s. Growing up, you didn't see this kind of stuff, nor did they promote it in movies. It's crazy time we living in. I don't get what's crazy about two girls being together in love. You both are a waste of time and wasting.
Yeah.
They're like, we're a waste of coochies. Put some babies in there. Men deserve that. And we're just like, really?
She's not even reading
a man
these.
deserves my body. Want us to be with a man?
Look, that's,
Just a man
that's
can-
disingenuous on the part of Love Don't Judge. She's just saying shit now. She's not reading those. She's just saying shit that she thinks people think. And they're putting it on the screen as if it's a chat message. That's fucking disingenuous, Love Don't Judge. I'm calling you out on this one.
Mistreat.
I just let them do their thing, because at the end of the day, we can't control what anyone says. I just look at it as the bright side. I mean, if you don't have haters, you're not popping. So my personal style is definitely pink. I feel like I am a Barbie girl. I love pink. Everything about me is pink.
They feel like as you're a lesbian and you choose to be a stud, you can't really choose to be a girly girl too. But me, I did what I wanted to do. My personal style, it really depends on how I genuinely feel. Sometimes I feel like I just want to be like her. Sometimes I want to wear sweatpants and just be casual.
When we first hooked up, she dressed both. The first time, she was very masked, and then she switched a week or two later. And I never seen her with the wig and stuff. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, you are actually very pretty.
So later on, I will be switching to my masculine side. Getting my dress retwisted and a haircut.
You mean to tell me wearing a surfing wetsuit isn't a masculine side? You could have fooled me.
Pitch and the demeanor will change, but just it's gonna be good.
She's definitely going to shock you though.
The vibe I want to give off when I'm masked, I'm still very feminine. I really like to add a little glitter and glam with my style. Since I was a little girl, sometimes I wear my skirt and little flip-flops with my mom, and sometimes I'm with my brother playing football. I've been this way. I'm never changing.
I think she looks her best with both. When she is more feminine, I feel like we get along a lot better.
You know, I recognize the absurdity of the statement I'm about to make, but, you know, in the 80s, yeah, that was literally just called being a tomboy. Like, yeah, sure, you're a lesbian, you're attracted to women now, but again, I'm special because I can go back and forth between masculine traits and feminine traits. Yeah, in the 80s, that was just called being a tomboy. That's not directly tied into all this alleged online hate and sexual identity stuff that I mean, yeah, for you, it's part of a complete package, part of your identity, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be something special to this. It's a concept that we've celebrated for years in this culture.
Better, like we bond better, but when she's masculine, it's like a challenge a little bit. So it's like she's the leader.
The leader of what?
We're gonna sit down with my mom and get her reaction on my change in my hairstyle and see how she likes it. Hopefully she likes it.
Okay,
guys.
so it's her mom.
As you can see, I look pretty good.
My name is Marcia, mother of Erica. Erica's masculine side comes from not wanting to be controlled. She wants to be Erica so loud and proud. She wants everybody to know, well, I can be cute and girly.
I wonder where
if
she
want
got
to,
it from.
Or I can be, masculine. I'm not a big
Why
fan
are we
of
meeting
that.
the mother
I'm
without
not
the
a big
father?
fan of locks on females. I think it takes too much away from the feminine side and adds more to the masculine side. And the clothes are definitely not giving of my little girl that I would want her to look like. So definitely not. You guys look really nice, but Ayana, you got everything going. Your hair is beautiful. What brought this on with Erica today? How do you feel about the way she's looking?
I think she looks really nice. I like how she can switch it up from femme to mask.
Some people like the way that I look and dress, you know.
Well, you know,
I
did
wouldn't
have
be
a daughter,
caught dead in that
and
outfit, by the way.
haircuts were
If that's considered masculine.
But see, that's how I want to explain to you. When stuff is not part of the plan, it can still be planned. Because you didn't plan me to have me a haircut. I planned
I don't know.
my own.
You think I could rock a fuzzy white
it's kind
sweater?
of like off-road. It's really not, the path. It's kind of rogue.
Purple
they
hat?
would call it.
Who is they?
Me.
You. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
You. Exactly. But you're okay with it?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Which one do you like better, though?
I like them both equally.
There's no way.
It
See,
is.
they're talking about it like it's a split personality. I mean, yeah, if you're living it that way, then it comes off as fake.
I just feel I like them both.
So
like
you're all dressed up and ready to go out. You don't care which Erica comes.
Mm-mm.
Just any Erica.
Yes. Any Erica.
Because they are the same person.
Exactly what I'm trying to say here.
Why is it like that my feminine have you up here and my masculine have you down here when I'm genuinely the same person that you gave birth to?
Well, I think
because
every
why
mother
does there
has
need
a
to be
daughter
two different
that
styles?
she wants in her image. So I would never have that image.
I mean, look. Some days I wear my hair up in a pony. Some days I wear it down. Yeah, I've got some different looks, but overall, I mean, I don't change my style all that often. Yeah, you folks on this show, you've seen me wear a shirt and tie. But there's nothing special, right? There's nothing dramatically different. I look like the same average Midwestern white dude. I don't try to look like something I'm not. And I don't know, like, definitely ladies can get away with a broader range of style than dudes. And so I'm not claiming that this isn't all part of her identity. But this idea that there are these two sides, this yin and yang, I don't know. A lot of it it smells a little fake to me.
So when you're that girl, you don't reflect me as a mom who raised a daughter. You reflect a person who's rejecting their feminine side. So as any mother, they want their daughters to be pretty. We want to have princesses. If we're queens, we want princesses. Our boys are our boys and they're our little prince, but we don't think that our princess is also going to be our prince.
What about a studette?
That's not a word.
A studette. That means I have a little feminine and a little mask.
Stutter has never been a good word. Nobody likes a stutter.
And nobody likes a judgmental person, but we are here, right?
Well, I'm not judging. I'm choosing.
So my question is, because I'm a mask.
Okay. Nobody likes a judgmental person. Yet literally everyone on earth is judgmental of something. We all have our prejudices, and our prejudices are based on certain observations we've made, certain lessons we've learned. We all definitely discriminate in judgmental ways based on taste, based on preference. Yeah, nobody likes a judgmental person, but guess what? You live in a fucking world full of them. Grow the fuck up.
I'm not a princess anymore. I don't deserve to be treated like a princess because I have an edge up, right? That's what you're telling me?
Well, when you approach me and you're looking like my son instead of my daughter, I'm not.
Okay, but you can't demand to be treated like a princess either. That's the other thing. You got to kind of earn the princess title. And mom's saying, hey, you're not doing the stuff to earn it. Now, you can reject the criteria, but if you reject the criteria, you might reject the label from the person you're asking it from. Again, this is part of the wild leftist mentality that would say, hey, no, you have to affirm my identity.
Offer you a spray of perfume or let me fix your lip
so
gloss.
So your love is conditional.
So that's not love. That's treatment. I love you regardless of how you look, but the treatment that you will receive.
Fuck, mom, hell
like
yeah.
Versus the treatment that you will receive when you look like that. it's definitely going to be different.
I could have sworn a saying was said, don't judge a book by its cover.
So I've already
But
pretty
you're my
much made
mom.
a judgment. I'm not just coming from mom, I'm coming from the world. No matter what they say, don't judge a book by its cover. When I see you, my brain automatically formulates an opinion about you.
Me, I'm gonna be myself regardless of how all the whole world feels. And I'm gonna be myself even with how you feel. Because you have never liked this
I
side.
mean, I think, and again, I don't know, like, is that the quote? I'm looking this shit up now. Yeah, I can't find where it's originally typed, but the earliest memory I have of that "don't judge" was "don't judge every book by its cover." I don't know. Maybe I've got a Mandela effect going on, but yeah, no, it's because you definitely judge a book by its cover. If you see, something that says like child pornography or something on it, like avoid that book and report whoever the hell's selling that book. Even if that book winds up just being fucking cookie recipes, judge that book. I mean, definitely judge a book by its cover. You there's a reason. There's a reason all these books have artwork on their covers. It's so I know it's a Batman comic. It's not Spider-Man over there.
Of me, you have always told me, ew, these ugly dreads, judge me in those sorts of.
And again, don't judge every book by its cover, because just because every one of these books on this row have Batman on the cover doesn't mean they're all of equal quality. So yeah, don't judge every book but definitely you're judging books by their cover.
Ways, but at the end of
I
the
hate
day, I
that
stayed
quote.
true to myself.
Well, that's one good thing about it. Some days you come in your wig and some days you don't. So guess what? I still get to have my little princess and then I get to have my little thug dread girl.
That you need to
Thug
help
thread
move big
girl.
suitcases and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I need that.
Okay.
Do you worry about what other people think when it comes to Erica and her mask?
Actually, I don't worry about anybody's opinion
There you
but
go.
my own. I'm always Mama Bear. So if anybody says anything, I'm coming.
I feel like that this relationship works because we know love is a feeling, but it's also a choice. We wake up every day ready to love each other, ready to work through all our problems. The people that judges us, I feel like they should just love themselves more. Genuinely.
It's just miserable.
Well, no, that's why I'm judging you, because I love myself enough not to participate in the delusions that you're asking people to participate in.
To just sit on your phone all day and just write negative comments. We're going to live our life how we want to.
And again, while you put yourself online to get those negative comments, you can choose whether to engage with the negative comments or not. But again, this is part of my issue with many of the people featured on Love Don't Judge is, what are you going to social media for? Are you making money at this? Are you selling a product? Or are you just lifestyle vlogging? Like, look at what I'm wearing. He. Like, to me, there's a certain amount of, I want to be a celebrity, and so therefore I take to social media. Me, this show right here, Mild's Culture Plate, this is simply a conversation about society. I'm not here to get popular. Right now, I've got 5 total viewers. And I think one of those total viewers is me. Or in fact, I think 3 of those total viewers might just be me. I don't know though. Anyway, I don't do this for popularity. I do this to have conversation. And if you can't handle being challenged in a conversation, even by hateful people who are awful and wrong, then you should question why you're doing it. And if you're doing it to get attention, if you're doing it to put your personality on social media, then you have to be willing to understand that personality is up for discussion. Quite literally the social part of social media.
Live our life.
Anyway. So yeah, I don't think you're a waste of females, but maybe you're a waste of brain cells. How about that? All right, so that's going to do it for the show tonight. We've gone an hour and a half. Shout out to Dr. Rand Paul. Again, I don't think anything's going to happen to Dr. Fauci at all. Could be just a big fat distraction for whatever the hell else is going on. I don't know. Quite frankly, I'm just trying to stay away from all the political bullshit. Really. But yeah, who the fuck do you think you are, Dr. Fauci? I definitely hope you see prison in your future. Anyway, until next time, folks. Again, probably next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. Take care of yourselves. Click that like, subscribe, do all the things downstairs. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about what happened to that infant that was missing. And let me know if you think what you think happened in that home that exploded at the beginning of the show here. Let me know what you think happened in those two cases down in the comments, and I'll catch you next time on Miles Culture Plate, folks. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you, and if you do, rub that shit in real good. I'll see you next Thursday. Good night.